All right, welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel. If you're listening to this the day after Strickland Podcast Network, Knicks win in dramatic fashion versus our rivals, the Miami Heat, who eliminated us in the playoffs last year. Looked like it was going to be a repeat of that today. Knicks win 100-98 after a 21-point comeback in the in-season tournament group stage play. Before we get into all that, and there's a lot to get into, the holiday season is off and rolling with NFL in full stride and the NBA and NHL hitting mid-season form. BetOnline is your number one destination for all your sports wagering info with up-to-the-minute sports wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. BetOnline is the top spot for everything pro and amateur sports. And not just the big four. BetOnline has info available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport that's played, from MMA to international soccer. Head to the BetOnline app today and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, man. First of all, I gotta say, in-season tournament, gotta tip my hat to the league for this idea. The games have been amazing. I feel like if this game was just a regular season game, the Knicks probably would have mailed it in way sooner. But I think the allure of, the courts, the jerseys, the 500K prize, like it means something to these guys. Like, these games mean something to them. And I mean, the Knicks have always been a resilient team, but like, it's early in the season. I wouldn't have blamed them if they mailed it in if this was another old regular season game. But I think the fact that there's this, added bonus of the in-season tournament and, like, it's something new. It matters to these guys, and you like to see them take it seriously. So shout out to the league for that. But man, what a game from the Knicks. Shout out Emmanuel Quickly. I was gonna get my Emmanuel Quickly jersey, but my head has not been in the right place the last couple of days. I haven't got the right amount of sleep, so I completely forgot to get it. But
all right, dude, before we get into like real analysis, can I just have 5 minutes? 2 rants. I need to get off 2 rants.
Yes,
2 rants.
Go ahead.
Rant number 1. Bam fucking Adebayo. Listen. I wouldn't give a shit how he plays at all. I actually am one of those nerds who like thinks he's super underrated. I actually posted earlier this season that I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Purely basketball, I agree with that. He's a very good basketball player. Awesome. If I was a Heat fan, I would love him. I would love every part of him. Seems like a good dude. And actually, I wouldn't even care about his style if it weren't for Heat fans have been complaining about Josh Hart for 6 months. 6 months, all they've talked about is how their 8-seed team wasn't lucky enough. They needed more luck. They needed Jimmy Butler to be healthier in the finals to beat the team that just dismantled them in the finals. Because of course they did. Because it's a 1 seed versus an 8 seed. Like how much more positive variance do you possibly need? Like, do you need Jason Tatum's teammates to play worse? Is that what you needed? So you spend all offseason bitching about Josh Hart, projecting what Bam Adebayo actually did to the Knicks, which was injure every single player in his sight. Any player in his sight, he took them out. He was their enforcer. Fine, that's fine. We've all seen the Knicks Heat battles of the 90s. We're all on board with that. But you don't get to cry about Josh Hart falling for one of Jimmy Butler's million head fakes all offseason when you have that skeleton in your closet. This big 6'11" dude who is just taking guys out. He did it again tonight. Jalen Brunson's in the air. He's being greatly contested by multiple Heat players. Bam comes flying in out of nowhere and just nails him. All right, like, cool, tough foul, it's fine. None of this would matter. I wouldn't care about any of the injuries. Quickly, Randall, Mitch Robinson, every single guy. He tried Quentin Grimes, the play everybody remembers from Game 5. That was Bam who gave him the stinger, and then Grimes got back into the play. I wouldn't give a shit about any of this if I didn't have to hear about Josh fucking Hart all offseason, how the Heat were a Josh Hart flop away from a championship. Give me a fucking break. The second rant I have to get off, and I'll turn it back over to you, because you want to talk about Emmanuel quickly. He just played the fakest 25-minute game I've ever seen in my life, because it's every Emmanuel Quickly game. When he checked in at the 4-minute mark of the third quarter, the Knicks were down 20, and there had been 32 minutes played in the game, and Quickly had played 10. Newsflash, you don't play one of your best players 10 of the first 32 minutes of the fucking game. I don't care if that's your substitute pattern. If that's your substitution pattern, that's an idiotic substitution pattern. And if you're listening to this, you know that I've probably been Tibbs' biggest supporter on Strickland all season. I think he's had a great season. Fix the substitution pattern. You can't have Emmanuel Quickly. You can't have him subbing in down 19 with 4 minutes to go in the third and be like, well, what can you do? Playing less than a third of the team's minutes. This is one of your team's most impactful players night in and night out. It's a joke. And then he's got to play the last 16 minutes of the game to play league average minutes. That's what he has to do. So we're relying on him down the stretch. Randall didn't have it tonight. Jalen got to go in late. I know he was efficient early, but just something, he didn't put up a lot of shots. The Heat were kind of stifling him. They needed Quickly as a secondary creator with what they were doing to Brunson. But he's playing his 14th and 15th minutes in a row, high leverage minutes against a very good, very well coached team. It's mind-boggling. It is an idiotic substitution pattern, and I've ranted about it how many times over the last 2 years. It's not sustainable. It's stupid. And I'm sorry, any substitution pattern that sees Emmanuel Quickly play 10 out of 32 minutes, it's not defensible. It just isn't. I'm sorry. So cool that we got the win, but I don't know. Fuck that. That's stupid. It needs to change.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Emmanuel Quickly, I totally agree with you on that point. I mean, it was insane. It took them so long. It took Tibbs so long to put him back in the game. Just a simple fact that, like, every time we get off to these slow starts in the second half, it's remarkable how long it takes Tibbs to like make a substitution. Like, he'll stick with the same guys. When I see other teams have these like situations, like they start to change things up, like off that first time out. Like they might sub a guy in, they might sub a guy out, they might run some different stuff. But like for the Knicks, it was the same old stuff until Tibbs went with his automatic substitution patterns, which have been old and they've continued to be old for as long as I can remember. But yeah, Emmanuel Quickly, 20 points off the bench, definitely was part of that bench lineup that helped spark this comeback. DiVincenzo's box score doesn't really tell the full story. I think he also played a big role in this comeback. He hit a 3. He also got that steal, and then he stepped out of bounds. But I feel like a lot of those plays that DiVincenzo had were some solid momentum plays. Josh Hart gave you solid minutes off the bench. Hartenstein had to give you a lot much more than you probably expected him to give you tonight because Mitch Rob got into early foul trouble because stupid Bam Adebayo was doing foul baiting in the beginning of the game. You
could see him hunting those fouls. Yeah. Like, especially when Mitch got 2, he was like, I'm going to tangle him up and like just put it to the refs. That was their strategy, which I don't know. If I was somebody in Mitchell Robinson's corner, I would be like, dude, that's the ultimate sign of respect. Eric Spoelstra does not want you in this game at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it almost worked for them. Thank God the Heat's late game offense and just offense in general isn't that spectacular. They're relying on guys like Jaime Jaquez and Josh Richardson to give them, consistent offense. As they're missing guys like Tyler Hero, and they miss Duncan Robinson, who's actually been pretty good for them early on this year. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks took advantage of that Heat offense that was eventually going to stifle, because I mean, they weren't really killing us, I would say, in the third quarter. It's just that the Knicks couldn't score back to respond to their early run in that third quarter. And like when you see a team like the Heat that doesn't have such a great offense, and your team has had a good offense, it's only a matter of time before things start to even out. Thankfully, they did for the Knicks, as Quickly came in, got you 20 points, got you those 14 in the fourth quarter. It was right. Or in the second half, I think it was. But yeah, I mean, he just did everything. He was everywhere, as he always is.
His defense was better than his offense.
And his offense was still pretty good.
It was. I would say it was better than just pretty good, because back to not being an irrational fan. The thing about the Heat is, even in a regular season game, when they're locked in, when they've got Jimmy and Bam and they've got Spoelstra on the sidelines and they play the way they do, they play as intelligently as they do, it's just, you can't view those types of box scores in a vacuum. So like 20 points on 8 of 17 shooting, take that every day of the week against that team, because they're just going to make you work for every single basket. Quickly wasn't getting the rim. He didn't shoot any free throws, I don't think. Like the Heat get they get a lot of respect from the refs, is what I'll say. Like Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, the stuff that Quickly tries to pull. Like he had that one where he mocked Jimmy Butler's celebration, where he did the thing. That's a whistle he gets against every single other team. It's the whistle that, it's similar to what Joel Embiid got sent to the free throw line for a few days ago. That was kind of controversial. But Kyle Lowry's not being called for a foul there. That's just the Heat get away with a lot of contact because they have a lot of guys who are perceived and are good defenders. Richardson's another one. Richardson, Butler, Bam, Kyle Lowry. These guys have all been around for a while. You're just not going to be able to get the types of calls you're used to. So, yeah, I mean, 20 points, 8 of 17 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3. That's a good offensive game. But yeah, defensively, back to my original point, this is one of the best defensive games from him I can remember. The dude is everywhere. He is, especially when you got Julius Randle doing whatever he was doing out there tonight. He had no interest in playing defense at all. Moving a mile a freaking a mile a day.
After interrupt you, it is remarkable. Like, this is not even a playoff game. This is an in-season tournament game. It's like whatever game has like championship level aspirations and implications, this guy has no interest in giving his all. It's insane.
If you're the coach, you have to understand your player. I'm sorry, you just have to. You cannot put him on Haywood Highsmith and expect him to be engaged. The Heat know this. The Heat are smart enough to just be like, okay, Highsmith, Jaquez, if you have Julius Randle on you, just move. Just move. He's not going to follow you. And that's why the beginning of the third quarter, stuff like that works so well, because when Randle moves like that, they don't really have anybody besides Mitch in the starting lineup to cover. And Mitch is covering for you in the rim. When Emmanuel Quickley's on the court, he is basically a second defender. There's 2 of them out there. And when Randle gets beat, you see him picking up Randle's guy, and then he's like, all right, you guys just adjust to whatever. It was a remarkable defensive game. One more thing about Randle. The Hartenstein block in transition that kind of like kept the Knicks in the game? Did you notice? So I think it was Hartenstein's turnover that led to the break. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But did you notice that Randle was actually the one at half court? He was doing his like fake space at near half court thing. And Hartenstein was inside the arc, and Hartenstein beat him back in transition. Randle just like turned and was like, oh, whatever, fuck it. Like, he was like that all game. It was an embarrassing performance by him. Embarrassing. I care about the turnovers, but some of them were well-intended. I'll live with a lot of Julius turnovers if they're decisive and they're well-intended. I don't care about that because, as so many people who are very, very pro Randle are like to remind us, he provides a lot of positives in terms of creating offense, things that the Knicks don't really have outside of Jalen Brunson. So you live with some of those turnovers. I don't know. We talk about it every game. You can't live with that effort. But yeah, Quickly's defense, so good to keep the Knicks in the game the second he stepped on the court. We haven't really mentioned RJ. I thought RJ played a really good second half. I didn't love his first half. I thought his second half was great. I love that Tibbs fudged his shifts, because usually I don't know if what RJ usually does is he starts the second and the fourth quarter, and then when Randle comes back in at the 7-8 minute mark, he comes in for RJ, or when Brunson comes back in. And then if it's a good RJ game, he'll reinsert RJ towards the end of the half. Tonight, he saw that RJ had it going and was helping on both ends. He trusted him to guard Jimmy Butler. He didn't say, I need Josh Hart out there. He said, okay, RJ, it's your time. And I loved that decision from Tibbs. I thought, I honestly think it won the Knicks the game. I think if Tibbs puts Brunson back in halfway through the fourth and he says, I need Josh Hart on Butler, and he pulls RJ, I don't think the Knicks win that game. Because RJ's ability to get into the paint, to knock down big shots like we've seen him do time and time again. Look, I thought Josh Hart played a really good game, but that is one specific thing he does not do that RJ does. And in my opinion, that marginal difference won the Knicks the game more than anything else. And so, I was giving shit to Tibbs earlier. Kudos to Tibbs for making that, because you know how Tibbs is, and you know that he would have loved to lean into, oh, well, I need Josh Hart and Jimmy Butler. So I guess, and Quickly's playing well, and I'm putting Brunson back in. It's got to be, you could just see Tibbs making that decision. And I think it takes a lot of guts in a big game like this, national TV. I think it takes a lot of guts to go against what is your instinct. So kudos to him, and kudos to RJ for playing a hell of a game or a hell of a second half. I don't love the first half he played.
Yeah, I didn't like a lot of the first halves of the Knicks, and I didn't like their third quarter in general. Until the bench came in. But yeah, shout out to RJ. He came in. And yeah, he played well in that fourth quarter. Um, who do we want to talk about next? Because we've talked about Randall already a lot, and there's still much more to get in
Hartenstein,
to
maybe.
with him.
I talked about his block, but I thought he bailed out Mitch and just like, I'll turn it over to you after this. But we can't. So many teams in the league have Mitch isn't unique in how good he is or what he does, but so many teams in the league have a guy like Mitch and are just not like him from how he plays, but in terms of the quality of his impact. And they're just like, yeah, we don't really need to worry about his backup. But the Knicks are like, no, fuck that. We're building this whole thing around Mitch. We need the guy who plays when he doesn't play to be able to come close to matching his production and his style. And again, how many times at the top of the key tonight did Hardenstein get to do what his natural self likes to do, find cutters? Not once. I can't remember a single play where Hardenstein had the ball in his hands at the top of the key looking for a cutter. He's not playing in a way that is conducive to his style, but he works his ass off to try and be what Tibbs wants him to be. And tonight was a great example. He went up against an all-star, all-NBA player in Bam Adebayo. He's a backup center, and he played unbelievable on both ends. I shouldn't say unbelievable offensively, but he doesn't like get in the way. He doesn't hurt you. He fights on the offensive glass. And his defense, he has no business being that impactful on defense. Again, backup center. I think he deserves some kudos.
And he had this nice play where he directed traffic for Josh Hart to get a layup off a cut. So he still gets those moments. It's not just as frequent as we'd like it. And it's not as frequent as we saw, I think, towards the second half of last year, where he was getting to do a lot more of that. But yeah, I mean, today he played well, and he had to step in for Mitch because Mitch had the early foul trouble, and he did his thing. The box score doesn't say it all, I would say. But I think he replicated Mitch's impact defensively, I think, as best as he could. 2 steals, 1 block. Mitch is always racking up the steals and blocks too. Mitch still managed to get 2 steals in his 20 minutes. But yeah, I mean, this is what you want to see from Hartenstein in those minutes where Mitch is sitting. Jalen Brunson, we didn't talk about him much. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 10 of 16 from the field. Did a great job closing the game for the Knicks. 8 points in the final, I want to say 3 or so minutes, while the Heat only scored 3 points. And shout out to the Knicks in that fourth quarter in general. I mean, it was like 29-11, and even at then it was like 26-9 at one point. Absolutely blitzed the Heat after we got blitzed by them in the third quarter. So good to see the Knicks just bounce back in that way and absolutely just shut off the Heat's water. But yeah, Jalen Brunson just did a great job closing the game as you want him to. Kind of gave you memories of kind of give you flashbacks to game, I want to say 5 it was last year.
Yeah, game 5.
Versus the Heat at home when we really needed those buckets late in the game. And Jalen Brunson, just has a thing for these big moments. So that's what you want from him. He didn't play the best game offensively. He didn't play the most explosive game, as we saw, versus the Bucks earlier in this tournament, and even versus the Wizards. I think he had a pretty good game in this tournament. But
Man,
yeah.
you're such a natural at this, Sam. The fact that just the fact that you had the wherewithal to be like, yeah, earlier in this tournament, like that's what a wild thing to say. That's so cool. I would never have thought to say that.
But yeah, I mean, he's had some really good games in this tournament. It's a tournament now, we gotta call it that. But yeah, I mean, he just did what you expect him to do. Clutch performer. And this is what we paid him $100 million to come here and do.
Yeah, I think he'd never say it. I wonder if I think it'd be cool if somebody asked, but I bet he was fueled a little bit by Butler. when he got back in, we had the momentum and we were still in this thing, and then it started getting the clutch time. I don't know if you saw, but Brunson got a foul call where he got a foul call that the Heat didn't like, and then he got away with a push off that Jimmy does that all the time. If you watch Jimmy Butler, you've seen him extend the arm and create space that way. He does it all the time. And Butler was kind of whining to the refs up the court both times. And they showed a back view where Brunson was not happy at all. Like, like it was almost like Brunson was like, dude, like we both do it. You're supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like an unwritten code, like it's one of those things like we're both going to get away with this. But Butler was trying to have his cake and eat it too. I think it pissed Brunson off. I think he wanted to, like, especially after Butler got that ridiculous and one did that exaggeratory celebration. I could see Brunson being the type of competitor to just be like, no, fuck that. Like I'm taking this thing home. The second that the Knicks bench got him back into it. Yeah, he was so good down the stretch. Just I don't mean this in a critical way. This is just an overall pet peeve about the league. When you're up 3 with 30, 20, a couple of possessions left, there's almost no difference between 5 and 6. So the only thing you're doing by taking a 3 is making your shot harder. Jalen Brunson is one of the best high floor bucket getters in the league. I need somebody to tell him, like, if the Knicks just push the lead to 5 there, that's so huge. And the fact that he settled for a pull-up 30-footer, I was just, and it took him so long to get into his offense. I think guys need to be coached to understand that, getting a 2-pointer 45% of the time is just so much better than getting a 3-pointer 30% of the time. Even if points per possession wise, those are both worth 0.9 points. That single possession does not occur in a vacuum. Scoring 45% of the time is better than scoring 30% of the time. And yeah, I was so nervous there. Just as a Knicks fan, I just wanted to win so bad. I did not want this to be the Celtics again. And I just hated that he settled for that 3, but he's just, his killer instinct, he's not afraid of the moment at all. Neither is RJ. We should say that again. He had a couple huge buckets down the stretch. He guarded Jimmy down the stretch, a couple great defensive possessions. I just love this team, man. It's just, it's frustrating. There's things that we're going to complain about and sound like bitches on when you come on here and listen to us, but just love this team. And Jalen Brunson's a big reason why. Just the fact that he's just not scared to just put it on him and bring us home. I love that. And I love, again, going to give Tibbs another shout out. He had quickly screened down the stretch. He had RJ screen down the stretch. He went away from the 1-5 screen and roll and let Brunson hunt the matchup, specifically Jaquez, which,
yes,
maybe a little racism, a little minor racism going on there, but that's okay. We support it. I think that Brunson did miss RJ once when we ran this play all the time against Cleveland last year in the playoffs, where he kind of sets the screen above the break behind the 3-point line, and then RJ slips to the corner, and he becomes the main outlet there in the corner. Mm-hmm. The Heat blitzed that, and RJ was wide open on the wing. I think Brunson could have found him, but I think Brunson ended up scoring anyway. So, like, who cares?
Yeah, I didn't like that deep 3. But like, I also don't mind it either because Jalen has been a great volume 3-point shooter this year. But like this game, he really had it going from 2, and especially he really had this matchup with Jaquez. Like anytime Jaquez was on him, he just instantly got a bucket. He instantly got a bucket whenever he wanted to late in the game. So yeah, I would have liked to see him push the lead to 5 there. It would have definitely gave us a little bit more breathing room. But the script didn't call for that. This is the in-season tournament. We needed a 1-possession game at the buzzer, and the script didn't call for the Knicks to go up 5. Sadly,
didn't even call for them to go up 3 again because Brunson couldn't make both
the free throw. Yeah.
I have to be honest. Even though Brunson, he missed both against the Bulls last year, right? That was him. Him and Grimes both missed free throws. Does that sound right to you?
I believe so.
Yeah, I know Brunson hasn't exactly been perfect with his free throws down the stretch, and I know Quickly, I think statistically is a slightly better free throw shooter this season. I think I still trust Brunson a little bit more than Quickly. Quickly is such a ball of energy, like he's so hyper aggressive, and he's so volatile. I don't think he's Randall, but I do think that I don't see him as like a calm center guy. And look, I mean, I'll live with Quickly at the line. He's one of the league's best free throw shooters. But if I had to choose between him and Brunson, I think I want Brunson still. That could be stupid.
Brunson just has that like calmness in those
Right.
like clutch moments that just meanwhile you want Quickly shooting those free throws while the Knicks are going on a run. Like the Knicks are in the midst of like a 15-0 run or something. That's when you want Quickly hitting those free throws because he has no momentum going, all that. Brunson, you want him in those calm moments. Meanwhile, you want Randall touching the ball not at all in any of those moments because the ball's either going to stop or it's going to be bricks at the free throw, which segues me into the negatives of tonight. Man.
Sam's been waiting for this. The hater cat half is coming on.
Man, I have had a headache for the past 3 days. Julius Randle has made it worse watching him play basketball today. Like instantaneously. That first half was absolutely gross. 6 turnovers in the first half. He didn't have much. He didn't have any in the second half because thankfully the ball didn't see his hands that much. But yeah, man, that was a rough game. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. I didn't want to see him back in the game in the fourth quarter.
There's no reason for him to be back in for Josh Hart. Hart played one of his best game of the season, I would argue. His most impactful game. The Heat were playing Jimmy at the 4 with 3 smaller players. And the Knicks didn't want Randall on Jimmy. So they were like, okay, we're going to put him on one of those wings. We're not going to run the ball through him because he doesn't have it going tonight. That's not what the Knicks do. And we're going to put him on a spacing wing who's going to move around, and we know Randall won't. That doesn't make there's no logic to it. It's just blind. Oh, he's our star. We got to put him back in. It's just, he shouldn't have come back in. And I mean, I don't want to hear anybody say, well, they won, so it was the right decision. He had nothing. He did not do a single thing when he came back.
He was invisible in the game.
He grabbed the rebound when Jimmy Butler missed the 3 at the buzzer.
That was it.
And
that was the only time I've noticed Randall on the court. Thankfully.
Speaking of not being noticed, because we can talk about the good and bad of Randall every night, but when Quentin Grimes hit that 3 before the half, I was like, holy shit, he's playing. I forgot he was playing. Seriously, like I was like, oh my God, he's that dude. What has happened? What has happened there? Because I will agree with people who criticize the offense and criticize like the inability to elevate, the non-stars. I get that. I get we don't have the best passers. Randall's really the only one who like can draw, who seems to be able to find Grimes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But when DiVincenzo and Quickly are on the court at the 2, they get shots up all the time. They do not ever fall invisible ever. So it has to be more. There has to be more going on, and I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Something's got to change, I think, because, and I do believe that it would be better for Grimes if he came off the bench. I posted that on Twitter like a week ago, and it got some pushback because people were like, oh, the starting lineup's net rating and yada, yada. And I agree with that. And point of attack defense is the main thing. I agree with those points. I just want to make my side of the argument clear. I'm not doing it because I think, like DiVincenzo is way better than Grimes. It's hard to be better than the starting lineup has been over the last year or whatever. I actually think the starting lineup would maintain its overall impact. Like I think they would keep around their net rating, but Grimes's individual impact would improve playing with the bench unit more. I just think that Quickly and RJ and that bench unit are better at getting Grimes involved than the starting lineup seems to be. So I think it's a rare opportunity for the Knicks to be able to have their cake and eat it too. I think they would stay as good as they are, if not improve, and Grimes's long-term development arc would improve if they made that decision. So that's my personal belief. I appreciate that there are people who don't see it like I do. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, Grimes, man, it's been rough. you're hoping that this is just like a little slump, but like it's not even a slump because like he doesn't touch the ball, like, and it's not like it's weird, like because like you said, like when DiVincenzo or Quickly are out there at the two, they get the ball and they do things with it. Um, there was another moment I did notice Grimes, by the way. He attacked a closeout and dished it off to Mitch. A little bit of a little bit of nostalgia to last year when Grimes used to do that a lot more often. But like even then, he still looked a little shaky with it. Like he didn't look like so confident, like driving into the lane and dishing off to Mitch. I don't know. Maybe he might have to go to the bench. Not because like it doesn't work, but like for his sake, in terms of like confidence and just getting in a better flow. But yeah, I don't know. It's been rough.
Can you put up Ace Bouchard's most recent comment about Grimes? Because I think it's really good, but I have just a slight edit. So Ace Bouchard says Grimes is a record scratch every time he touches the ball. Every possession just dies when he touches the ball unless he takes and makes threes. I agree with that. The one edit I would make is I feel like his decisions are almost pre-scripted. It's almost like watching Tua play quarterback. Like watch Tua play quarterback. Once you see that Tua decides before the play started that he knows who he's gonna throw to before the play starts, you can't unsee it. It's so wild. Like even when he quote unquote goes through the progressions, his look-offs are almost like pre-scripted. But anyways, back to Grimes. All of his touches, it seems like there's no improvisation and no, whether it's because his coach doesn't want him to be or he doesn't have the confidence to, there's no ability to assess what's in front of him and try to exploit it. Like, because there are opportunities for him. Everybody knows when he catches the ball in that little weave to start possessions that he's just tossing the ball back to Randall or back to Brunson. Or everybody knows that when he catches the ball and Randall comes and sets a screen for him and forces that switch, Grimes is going to take one dribble towards the top of the key and either get it to Randall with the cross match or pass it back to Brunson. Everybody knows these things. He could reject the screen. There are opportunities available to him, and like we see Quickly and DiVincenzo do it all the time. Their actions are very not scripted. There's tons of improv there. And I don't know if it's the coaches don't trust Grimes' ability, the Grimes' ball handling ability, or Grimes doesn't trust it. He's just too unselfish.
Or
It's both. But for whatever reason, he just seems very, very rigid in what he does with the ball in his hands. So, and then JK added on, he spends more time dribbling away from the hoop and the weave action than towards the paint. Guys don't have to guard him seriously. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what I'm saying. Like, yeah, even if the guy wasn't guarding him, he doesn't seem confident enough or to be allowed to take advantage of it right now. And I think that has to change.
Yeah. And yeah, let me get through some of these some of these comments some more. But yeah, I think with Grimes, it's a matter of, I think now it's a matter of like he is not confident and the coaches probably see that. And it's like man, I'm trying to find my words and my head is not agreeing with me right now. But it's like one thing is like fueling the other in a way. Because the coaches see that he's not confident, they're not allowing him to do these other things that he may want to do. Ace Resart says I have the RJ migraine. It feels like it. This headache has been very annoying. It hasn't gone away no matter how much Tylenol I take. So just gonna get some sleep after this post game and hopefully it goes away. But yeah, let me get through some of these comments. We have a whole bunch, especially some that were coming in while the game was going on. Ace Bouchard says, kudos to Thibs for sticking with iHeart and IQ over Grimes and Mitch. Should have never been in the situation to begin with, though, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, shout out to Thibs. I mean, it sucks that like IQ had to play that many minutes straight for him to like play the minutes that he got, but I'll take Emmanuel Quickly minutes any day of the week, man. So I'm not gonna complain too much, but it's not the most ideal way I would go about it.
It's just wild because it's such an easy tweak to make. And the start is, first of all, I cannot believe he went to Josh Hart first in the third quarter. In the third quarter. Like, that's such a, I will continue to not get that. Because I think, yeah, they played the same amount of minutes despite Hart not closing. And there's the difference right there. Like Quickly would be playing almost 30 minutes a game if he was just the first one off the bench. And why he's not the first one off the bench, I don't understand. We have 4 years of evidence, as Ariel said on Twitter just a couple minutes ago. We have 4 years of evidence of his impact. We now have 1.25 seasons of proof that he can play next to Jalen Brunson. I don't know. I agree with Ace though. I'm glad. I mean, look, I agree with Ace about Hartenstein. I think there would have been a riot somewhere if Quickly got pulled from that game. That would have been one of the worst. That would have been one of the worst decisions you'll ever see. So I don't think Tibbs deserves credit for making a very, very easy decision. But yes, I did like that he trusted Hartenstein and rewarded him for stepping in for Mitch. And one small thing, we saw this last year and we talked about it a little bit. I really like when guys on the team seem to root for each other. It's just another factor of likability for this team. Quickly said in his post game, he basically gave Brunson credit for his improvement and called him his big brother and said that Brunson's been pushing him and motivating him and saying like, keep going, you got this. And like, that's cool. But Mitch and Hartenstein seem to have a great relationship. And even more so than Randall and Obi, their minutes are directly zero sum. Like every minute Mitch plays, it is impossible for Hartenstein to be on the court and vice versa. And neither one really seems to care. They both seem very secure in their roles. They seem very happy to be on this team. And they always are talking positively about the other. So big fan of that. Big fan of just high character guys, which goes back to Leon, honestly. Leon in the front office, that one of the big things they have prioritized is character. They want guys who will work hard and are going to stay out of trouble. And for the most part, they've drafted and signed guys like that. Again, I love this team. It's an awesome thing to get to root for these guys because it's just been so long since the Knicks have had this. And we're now in year 4 of just at bare minimum, a likable team that's going to try hard for the most part. And that's pretty great.
Yeah. Jordan Bub says Jalen Brunson. Oh yeah, I saw this quote. Jalen Brunson on how the Knicks are able to turn it around. He said a fan looked him in the eye on the bench and said, "This is embarrassing." And he said that's pretty much what motivated him to spur this comeback, or at least help close the deal late in the game. That was funny, and I could imagine plenty of fans were probably telling the Knicks themselves on the bench that it was embarrassing because that third quarter was absolutely embarrassing. What was like a 19-0 run from the Heat to start the third quarter. The Heat aren't even a good enough offense that
it was 19-0. Yeah.
The Heat aren't even a good enough offense to do that to us. Like,
yeah, that was, I mean, here, if you go back and watch it though, it was all effort. They were getting crushed on backdoor cuts. So like there was one play where Highsmith burned Randall on a backdoor cut.
Of course.
And and then he got the hockey assist because somebody stunted down and helped. And then that led to a kick out, which led to a rotation, and then one pass away, boom, 3. And then the second thing besides the backdoor cuts, the offensive glass. Look, I love Jalen Brunson. That dude, I would be surprised if he has a box out like all season. Like he tries, but he misses him and RJ and Randall. This is why it didn't work last season and why RJ unfortunately needs to be the one to sacrifice, because at their core, none of those 3 players are really role players. So like we've seen the reason it's been better this season is because we've seen from RJ and Brunson steps towards trying to do more role player things. With Brunson, it's off-ball defense. He's playing the best off-ball defense of his career. He's trying. That's the best we can ask from him. He works his ass off the ball. He has more. He's getting steals. He's in lanes. He's stunting like Quickly does. It's been a revelation. And with RJ, it needs to be stuff like boxing out and rebounding. And I think with RJ, we've seen better defense overall, but we haven't seen his ability or his impact improve on the glass. So when Brunson and RJ and Randall all are on the court together, you have three guys who just aren't really boxing out or helping. And I know people will find that to be blasphemous about Randall because, hey, he averages over 10 rebounds a game. No. He gets more low leverage rebounds than any player in the game. Any player since fucking Thunder Russell Westbrook.
Uncontested.
They're all uncontested. The only time they're ever contested is when he's stealing them from a teammate, which sometimes hurts us. It's just he's not putting a body on anybody for box out. So when you have three guys who don't box out, it all falls on Mitchell Robinson or the luck of the bounce. And the bounces were not going the Knicks' way in that third quarter. There was that Jaquez putback. Nobody was there. There was just a number of offensive rebounds. I think the Heat ended up, yes, they got 10 offensive rebounds to the Knicks 6. And they had 11 turnovers to the Knicks 18. So that is 11 more possessions than the Knicks had. They also shot 21 free throws to the Knicks 18. And they shot 6 more field goal attempts, shot 8 more threes. This was just not a game the Knicks should have won. So, I think more than anything, that's something the Knicks can take away from this game. They got to win in both the in-season tournament and on the regular season standings where they can look back and be like, guys, we have to play a lot better. We can play a lot better, and we squeaked out a win. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think the in-season tournament plays a role in them not giving up in this game. Like I said earlier, I think, I think that the Knicks are generally a resilient team, so they would have probably fought back no matter what. But I think that added bonus of it being the in-season tournament and this being an elimination game in the in-season tournament, basically, because if the Knicks lost this game, that's it. They're out of contention for the in-season championship, and it obviously means something to guys around the league. You see a lot of these games have been more competitive early on in the season because of that. So, I think that played a role in this as well.
Yeah, I feel, this is one of the rare times I'm going to pat myself on the back. I said before the season that I thought that we'd end up surprised with how big a success the in-season tournament would end up being. I just think that the people who are in charge, there's too much money, there's too much information. I trusted that. And I think just immediately the information came out they're going to have new uniforms, new courts. It was very clear that they were invested in it from the start. And I'm glad it's working out. I just think it's a cool twist to a long regular season.
Definitely.
So I'm totally on board with you. I think it's,
even as a fan watching this game, it felt like there was something more at stake. Even though it's a game in the middle at the end of November, it's this game has stakes. We're out of contention for this new championship in the season to a team. How fitting the script called for, how fitting for it to be against the team that eliminated us in the playoffs last year. They had a chance to eliminate us from the in-season tournament. So, all of that it matters. It means that much more.
I watched the game on mute. Who got the bang call? Was it RJ?
I didn't watch on ESPN, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched on MSG with Clyde and Kenny.
Damn. Well, if anybody here listening watched on ESPN, let us know. I would love to know who got the vintage bang call from Mike Breen. Oh man, dude, Pop is just done, huh? Dude, he's starting Malachi Branham over Devin Vassell. What the hell are they doing over there?
He's so washed. Did you see the video of him the other day, calling for the Spurs fans to not boo?
that was
the sporting event. These people paid money to boo.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? Here's the thing, buddy. Some people pay part of some people's viewing experience. There's a reason they do it. I think it's stupid. I don't care what the coaches have to say. But part of the viewing experience for some people is to hear the coach's interview and to hear what the coach's thoughts are during a game. And Pop just takes a shit on that every single time he's asked to do it. So it's pretty hypocritical to be like, oh, we're above this. Let's be classy. And then do the things he does, anytime he's interacting with a sideline reporter or the media. But I digress.
Yeah. He loves to, yeah, he loves to be an asshole to people. And even after the game, he was an asshole to the reporters after the game. Like when they asked him, why did he do that? He's like, oh, I don't want to poke the bear and stuff like that. And, they asked him to like explain further and he didn't want to, but that's just Pop being a jerk off. So, but let's see. What are the comments we have here? Raphael Burgess. Benching Randall for a bit helped us get back into it. His energy was frustrating tonight. Get great effort from the bench. Yeah, he was so lackadaisical. Like I said earlier, it's pretty remarkable. Like in games that matter, he is like basically nowhere to be found a lot of these times. Or like he's like playing like the shittiest version of himself. Playoffs, now in season tournament. It's just like he had a rough in season tournament game against the Bucks. Remember that? Like, sheesh, this guy just like whenever the stakes are higher, he just has to fill up his pants.
Jesus, I have to say, I think it's less about the in-season tournament and more that he just hasn't been good this season at all. This whole like movement of like, oh, he's been better recently. Dude, we've played a sixth of the season and his true shooting percentage is 47.5, which is like one of the worst. It has to be one of the worst of any high usage player in basketball.
That's absolutely gross.
Yeah, he's been terrible. Turnover percentage is up. Usage is the same. Just everything. Like he's not making any shots. He's been bad. There's no two ways around it. And so, I mean, of course, you're rooting for him to get better as a Knicks fan, but you have to be able to talk about it. I don't get this whole thing of it's like, oh, yeah, he's been better. Like, dude, he was an all-NBA player last season. He's one of the team's highest paid player. Can we hold him to a standard that isn't literal hell?
Yeah, I never understood the fact that folks want to hold him to such a low standard, but also like want to prop him up to be such a good basketball player. Like you can't have it both ways.
Right. Like people were calling him a top 15 player in the NBA last season. And they're like, guys, can we give him a minute? It's like, sure. I mean, but when we're analyzing him, can we at least just be honest? He hasn't been good. And the thing is that he's not like, I was saying how quiet Quentin Grimes has been, and he has. But at least Grimes he's out there trying his best, and he's giving you defense that's consistently something. When Randall has the spurts like he does tonight, the offense is what gets him back to neutral or above neutral. He's not starting from neutral or slightly above neutral. So he needs the offense to be good, not just like average. And it hasn't been average this season. It's been well below average, as I just alluded to. I haven't looked at the impact stats in a little bit. Let's take a gander at those. But I know that he was not doing well in that stuff either as of last game. I doubt it's updated after tonight's game. So yeah, I mean, him and Grimes are the team is almost 6 points per 100 worse when he plays versus when he doesn't play. So I don't know.
And somehow the team is 9-6 in spite of that. And shout out to RJ Barrett. Shout out to the sporadic play of Jalen Brunson. He's had his moments. He's also had his not so good moments. Shout out to Emmanuel Quickley, Mitch Robinson. They have really kind of held it down while Randall and Grimes try to find God in this season. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, a big part of this early season so far, honestly. I've seen so many stats. I saw that Knicks analytics guy. He had a good thread the other day that was like talking about all the things that have gone against against the Knicks so far this season. Let's see if I can find it real quick on the fly. There it is. Yeah, he posted the other day that oh yeah, there it is. The Knicks have had the third worst opponent's wide open three shooting luck so far this season. Yet among the teams with bottom half luck, they have the best defensive rating. So it's like things like that. Like that stuff is going to improve. They're going to, naturally get some positive regression in areas. Randall is going to play better. I'm not like if he plays like this for an entire season, dude, if he plays like this for an entire season, we're gonna have conversations we've never had before. This is not
never.
This is the worst he's ever played as a Knick. There's no way it's ever been worse, ever.
I don't know. 1920 was pretty bad.
In 2019, 2020, he was shooting over 7% better from the floor.
Wow, it's really that bad. Okay. Me, I'm just like so used to like him being bad. Like I'm not even like scaling it anymore. I'm just like, oh, this is just bad. Like I'm not even like, oh, this is like really, really bad. Like I didn't know it was that bad, but wow.
It's really, really bad. Yeah. So he turned it over in 1920 more. He assisted less. So he's doing more for his team as a passer.
Sort of.
But yeah, look, PER is a terrible stat. I hate it, but it does kind of capture guys like Julius who are high volume. Like it does somewhat give you if you were to only
high usage guys.
Right, exactly. And I wouldn't even want to compare Julius to another high usage guy using PER because it's like the context is different. I would just basically never use PER. I'm only using it to compare Julius to other seasons. His PER is the worst of his career, or the worst since his rookie season. Not the broken leg rookie season, his actual rookie season.
Wow.
Just everything across the board, the worst of his career. This is the worst we've ever seen it as a Knick, and it has to get better. It can't not get better.
I don't know, man. We've seen him start off seasons bad. We've seen him start off seasons good, and it go completely downhill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It would just. I'm gonna steal.
I wouldn't put any money on it, and y'all know I'm a betting man, but I would not put any money on that.
I'm gonna steal, like a line of logic from my buddy XJ and say that for Randall to play at this level, the level we're seeing him right now in his 29-year-old season for an entire season, coming off the season he just played, we've never seen anything like that in NBA history. It would be the most unprecedented event.
Historically,
it would be historically awful. I know you live for this. I know you can't wait for Tyrese to get back on here so you can, but I just can't believe it. I can't believe that this is gonna keep happening.
For me, it's like it doesn't mean anything to me anymore because like I've said all the jokes I can say about him. It feels like I'm kicking someone while they're down now at this point, like making fun of Randall. Like he's wearing Skechers now. He's cut his hair. He's not that good at basketball. He doesn't have a lot going for him right now, you know? He's got the Skechers check, but like, what does it mean if you suck at basketball? But yeah, man, he is so bad. Like he's so bad, like I don't even scale it anymore. But like, man, to be historically ass, wow.
He's cashing checks from the fourth largest shoe company.
I mean, hey, if that's gonna help him sleep at night while he's missing, shots and missing guys in the corners and getting turnovers, I will say there was some great moments of ball movement in the first half. I would say there were some moments of some good ball.
That was the weird part is Randall at the end of his first shift had like 9, 4, and 2 on 3 of 5 shooting. The defense was bad the whole game. I thought he was fine out of the gate. It was basically the Heat were like, oh, okay, we have to start doubling him. And then they started doubling him and
he was like, oh, I don't know how to handle doubles anymore.
For anyone paying attention, by the way, or anyone who might go back and rewatch this game, focus on where the Knicks doubled from and where the Heat doubled from, and why Bam Adebayo out of a double team is so much more successful than Julius Randle. Now, I'm not taking all the credit away from Bam Adebayo. he's a better processor than Julius Randle. So that is part of the reason. Another part of the reason is that the Knicks are like doubling down from one pass away from the strong corner when Kevin Love is standing in the corner. And it's like, okay, that's the easiest kick out in the history of the world to make. There was a play in the first half where Haywood Highsmith had Jalen Brunson in the mid post with his back to the basket. Back to the basket. Haywood Highsmith with Jalen Brunson on him. You know what? Just let him go. Like, just let him go one-on-one. What is the worst that could happen? Instead, Julius Randle digs down, or maybe it was Hardenstein. One of the two of them digs down. Kevin Love wide open for three. He missed it, thank God, but just ridiculous. It's just awful, awful strategy. We need to be smarter with where we send doubles from, and we need to be smarter when we send the double teams. Because again, Haywood Highsmith with his back to the basket, if they're going to beat us that way, let them beat us that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This team has a weird thing against the Heat and doubling, like at weird times. Like, remember in the playoffs and they were like weirdly like doubling Jimmy at certain points when we didn't need to? So odd. Something about playing the Heat that gets Thibs' brain in a little scramble.
Well, he's a weird one too because, like, just let him beat you. Let Butler. That's fine. You know, like I know he gets a lot of foul calls. I know he contorts his body a lot and does the DeMar DeRozan leg kick thing. I doubt anybody else saw this. I was listening to the Raptors Bulls game on my other TV. Again, because I had the Knicks muted, and DeRozan got a foul call. What's up?
I said, God bless your soul watching the Bulls play basketball.
It was rough. And DeRozan got a foul call. Like he did his thing where he shot a mid-range shot from the free throw line and like kicked his legs out and flailed. And the Raptors challenged, and the Raptors announcers were so sure it was getting overturned. It was so funny. They were like, "Oh, this has got to get overturned. Like, look, you can slow it down. It's right there. It's right there. He didn't touch him. DeRozan kicked his legs out." And the call on the floor stood, and they were just so bewildered. They were just like, "What is going on?" It was so funny.
Well, yeah, they're not used to seeing that because he didn't used to do that when he was in Toronto.
Yeah, he was a different player back then.
Let's see what other comments we have here. Oh yeah, Christopher Riviere says IQ was a plus 21 in a 2-point victory. Insanes and captures his impact perfectly for 4 seasons in a row. Pay the man. The Knicks are going to end up having to pay him much more than they probably anticipated paying him in the beginning of the season, I would say, or at least before the season.
Yeah, I'm still not. I mean, I'll believe he's a Knick long term when I see it. I'm still not convinced, if I'm being honest. I mean, 2 areas where me and Schwinn just, I think, disagree, and we'll see who's right and who's wrong. He's convinced that Randle won't be here on his next contract, and that quickly will. And I think it's just very clearly the opposite. I think that, I think they just don't want to lock up that much money at the quote unquote point guard position.
Yeah, I could see that. It's going to be a shame when Quickly goes off on his next team. He's going to be an all-star.
It's just what's weird too, though, is everybody always talks about how, oh, we need Quickly for the bench unit and yada, yada. Couldn't Quickly just start at shooting guard and then lead the bench unit still? Like just have Jalen Brunson play the whole first and the whole third, pull Quickly when you pull Mitch, and then have Quickly start. Like you could still have Quickly and Brunson on the court for the whole game, and Quickly could be the leader of the bench unit. It would just, this way you would have Quickly playing more minutes. That seems like a good thing. No, I don't get it.
Yeah, but hey, what do we know? We're not the coach. We're not the front office people. We don't get to make these decisions, sadly. So, yeah.
One day.
Maybe. Let's see what other comments we got here. Christopher kind of echoes your sentiment here, I guess. Here are all the arguments about why IQ is better served coming off the bench, but I really don't care anymore. To be honest, he needs to start if it means he can play 30 minutes per game. Basically,
oh, nice.
That's his. Yeah,
that was well timed. I didn't even see that comment.
It was earlier in the stream. It was
Yeah.
from 1041, but it lines up perfectly for right now. He also says he's our best player, so I'm with Jeff.
I mean, look, you don't have to get too many drinks in me before. I don't actually think he's our best player, but at least not in his current role. But I do think that he has showcased the highest ceiling on the team. And that might sound crazy to some people because Julius Randle was second team All NBA or third team All NBA, or no, second team twice. But I think quickly as a starter in the NBA, it would be that, but he would be from an intangible perspective, not statistical. Quickly has proven that he fits with other stars in a way that Randle doesn't. And even Brunson really doesn't. Like Brunson's really good. Brunson's going to maybe be an all-star this year, maybe all NBA. But whenever the Knicks get a real co-star next to Jalen Brunson, it's going to be a murky fit. And it's going to take some time for that to work because Brunson likes the ball in his hands and that's where he's at his best. And presumably they're going to get a star who also likes that. Quickly is kind of more chameleon-like. And so that's why from a team impact perspective, I do think that Quickly is showcased the highest ceiling of any Knicks player. And I think the Knicks are handcuffing themselves by thinking they can only play him so many minutes and just basically not letting him flourish and not let him reach his true maximum potential. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I also agree. Shout out to Tay212. He says number 30 ain't shit, and he's the reason why he's an alcoholic. I'm so sorry. I have not reached that level just because I don't care about Randle anymore. Like, if he's on the team another year, maybe I might get to this point and he continues to play like this, but I'm not there yet. So, but yeah, I can see why.
Sam, you and Schwinn on the last show, this just reminded me of it. You guys had like an all-time moment at the end when you were like, my fucking back hurts, man. And he was like, why? And he made some joke and you were like, nah, scoliosis. And he thought you were joking and he started laughing. He started laughing and you were like, no, I'm serious. And he was like, oh, that fucking sucks, dude. And I was just sitting there like, holy shit, what is going on? This guy's like, yeah, I'm an alcoholic because of Julius Randle. I don't know what to say. Like, that sucks, man.
It does.
No, that's
like,
really
man.
sad. I hope he's not actually an alcoholic like that. But Jesus.
Oh man, I mean, if he is, I mean, you can, I don't know, can you write that off under something? I don't know.
Write it off? Write off your alcoholism?
Or like, I don't know, like write off like Julius Randle as like under something.
It's not my fault, Your Honor. It's not my fault. Julius Randle made me do it. Shit, man. No, seriously, like if you're not joking about being an alcoholic, please just, we wish you the best.
Or just stop watching the Knicks.
Yeah, or just stop watching Julius Randle if he's what's pushing you over the edge. Oh man. Now I'm just like I'm just picturing some guy sitting on the couch like shaking, he's got the shivers, and then Julius Randle comes on, he's like, fucking can't do it. I need it. God damn it.
Oh man. Yeah. Julius Randle, look what you're doing to people, man. Stop playing bad basketball. Oh man.
Maybe James Dolan has like a piece of Miller Lite, So Julius Randle is helping the beer industry. So that's why he keeps him around.
Oh my God.
It's a little too meta.
Oh man. But yeah. Yeah, I think Julius is here for at least another, or at least for this year. I don't think they trade him.
Well, that's the thing is, how does he go? Because we've heard for years they're not trading him unless it's for somebody better. They're not going to take a step back.
And no one is trading their best player for Julius Randle to get back in return.
If somebody's trading Julius Randle, or if somebody's trading you a star, they're doing it to reset. They don't want to pay Julius Randle. Yeah, exactly. Like that would be, what was the Jeremy Grant trade?
From him to from Detroit to Portland.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of an example, but like
Because
Jared, but the Blazers were like trying to build around Dame, so I guess
yeah,
that's a rare example. They would need to find a team like that, but those teams don't really
that's
exist.
like desperate. That's like desperate for like someone to help their star, basically.
Right, exactly. Someone
What
trying
team
to
is like that?
like the Hornets
Well, like
trying
who are they
to
desperate to keep?
they're Lamelo. Lamelo's really
Are
good.
they at that stage yet?
They probably will be, right? Like Lamelo's hidden
Soon.
restricted. Were Lamelo and Quickly the same draft, or was Quickly a year
Yeah,
before?
they were the same draft.
So yeah, and I think Lamelo's already gotten his max, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to become disgruntled very soon, I'd imagine.
yeah,
Um, and Randall,
maybe.
hey, they need a power forward. So, and obviously the Knicks wouldn't want anybody from the Hornets, but they could be a third team in a star trade. Honestly, I mean, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Julius Randle, and Mark Williams. Whew, that's a super team. That's a super team right there, Sam.
God bless Charlotte Hornets fans. That's all I'll say to that.
I do actually like the LaMelo,
Brandon Miller.
Miller, Mark Williams trio. That's it. Those are the three players. Like if I was the Hornets, I would just those are the three players I would not care about. Oh, and Frank obviously because Frank's a perfect fit with.
Gotta have that defensive piece right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that team is. I mean, they give teams a fight, but they're rough.
They do.
I mean, they only give teams a fight because it's like three guys that like will score for them
Yeah. Do we play them next Tuesday at home or away?
at home.
Okay.
I think.
So all of a sudden, I mean,
And that's another in-season tournament game.
oh wow, interesting. But I mean, just take care of business Sunday, and looking good.
Yeah,
Like,
this is a 5-game homestand, I believe. This game versus Miami, and then the next 4, I think, are like all straight at home.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's 4 games. It's 4 games, but yeah.
Oh, it's 4 games.
And
Okay.
I mean, but the cool thing, I mean, they get Phoenix Sunday at 6, and then the 2 after that are Charlotte and Detroit. So like,
Pretty favorable matchups.
yeah. Oh my god. And then they fly to Toronto Friday night. Why do the schedule makers hate us?
So weird. They hate everybody though, like in in different ways. The schedule makers hate everybody in different ways, but I feel like ours has been the most insane, especially that stretch where we were playing like 5 games in 7 days.
I thought, so first of all, we do that again. Holy shit, we do that again.
That's insane.
From Wednesday to December 13th to Wednesday, December 20th, the Knicks have a 5-game road trip where they play 5 games in 8 nights for the second time in the first 2 months of the season.
That's insane. At
Utah, at Utah, at Phoenix, at Los Angeles, at Brooklyn. The fuck, dude?
This is insane. Also, Jeremy Grant was a part of the Olympic team. What the fuck?
That's good.
What? This Olympic team was so weird in 2020.
They had the Olympics in 2020?
Well, it was part of the they had it in 2021.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But that team was so weird.
Who else was on it?
Booker, KD, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Keldon Johnson, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
JaVale McGee.
That was when
Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum. Like, what the hell is this team?
Dude, that was when the Bucks won the title, and then Drew and Chris
had to
went
fly
straight,
off.
fly straight from, and everyone was like, that was like peak. That was even worse than when he signed with Boston. That was prime, like everyone slurping up Drew Holiday, like just like, oh, what a warrior, And
I can see why they wanted to bring him back for this next Olympic team next year. But that just stuck out to me while looking at Jeremy Grant's thing, because I wanted to see when he was traded from the Pistons to the Blazers and what he was traded for, just so I can get an idea of what kind of package Julius Randle could go out into a team that is looking to pair him with someone else. So
Yeah,
Grant was traded to Blazers along with the draft rights to somebody else for a top 4 protected 25 first round pick and the draft rights to some other player in the EuroLeague and 2 future second round picks.
right.
So in a potential Randall deal, maybe that's the type of package we can expect back.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, and I don't see anybody giving that up for Randall. I don't know. I think the best way I think the best way I can say it is I just think the Knicks have boxed themselves into a corner where Randall is more valuable to the Knicks than to anybody else. And so in my opinion, they're going to keep kind of feeling out trades, and they're never going to sell low or like sell him for less than, 100 cents on the dollar. And it's just eventually going to reach that time where it's like, okay, I guess we extend him. And here's my prediction. And everyone can, you can record this if you want. My prediction is this. Randall will sign for what is framed as a team-friendly deal. It'll be, I don't know what the contracts will be then, but it'll be less than the max. And he'll be like, oh, I love New York. I never want to go anywhere else. But it'll be by far the most.
And the city will riot with pitchforks.
I don't even know. I don't know. I think that I don't know. I just think they want someone like that. They want to put a jersey in the rafters, and I know that Brunson is probably the main guy, but I mean Randall's been here 3 years longer. Yeah, 3 years longer than Brunson. Or wait. Yeah, 3 years, right? 1920, 2021, 20. Yeah, 3 years longer than Brunson.
Sadly.
So that matters, though.
Gross. This is absolutely gross. I'm dying over
here. Did you see that Stephen A left the game?
He did? That's probably why we won.
He was sitting courtside, and then with 9 minutes left in the game, he just left, probably out of disgust.
Good. That helped us win the game. It's bad vibes. I hate it.
That's so funny.
He should do that more often. He should come to games while we're losing, he should just leave so we can win again.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Christopher Vieira is looking ahead to Sunday. Is Skechers Man going to call out KD again while on mic and try to make himself the main character? Never will forget that game on ESPN a few years ago. Oh my god. I feel like we talk about that game like almost every 5 streams we talk about. Hey, remember when Randall thought he was on the same level as KD and made a fool of himself on national TV?
That shit was so funny. Honestly, it was just
talk about like no awareness.
None. Look, I think Randall's gonna have a good game on Sunday, and I'll tell you why I think he's gonna have a good game on Sunday. Because he has to guard Kevin Durant. The Knicks can't put anybody else on Durant. It would be a joke if they did. And
they might throw RJ on him and put Grimes on Booker.
Grimes will guard Booker, 100%. Man, if Randall can't be bothered to guard Durant, wait a second though. Doesn't Grayson Allen start?
Yeah.
So
you know they're gonna throw Randall on someone like Keita Bates Diop.
Does he start?
Yeah. Some games he does.
God, you're right. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. Jesus.
Yeah, I know it. And Keita Bates Diop is gonna get open for a couple of threes. I just know I'm about to. I'm about to take him for like 2 or 3 threes tomorrow.
Dude, you gotta do your Sam thing and bet him for like 4+. I want to see a screenshot of a parlay of him involved in a 4+ threes. He can do it.
I don't even doubt it. I could see it. He is like I just know that's what the Knicks are gonna do. Like they're gonna put RJ on KD, because he has, I guess, a little bit more height than Grimes to guard him. They're gonna put Grimes on Booker because Booker's gonna be at the point of attack, and Grimes is gonna be. I mean, not Grimes. Brunson's gonna be on Grayson Allen. And then Randall's going to be on Bates Diop, and then Nurkic is going to have Mitch.
Yep. So I guess I take back what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
That Randall engaged is a really good player. Like the whole problem is
good luck with that. Good luck having him engaged in this matchup.
He is like I guess they'll put Bates Diop on Randall. I don't know. Fuck, man. I was just gonna say like he's bigger, but he is bigger. I don't know. The Suns team is sneakily big with Bates Diop in the starting lineup. That's crazy. I remember them playing Durant at center last season. Holy shit, Booker!
Yeah, they got the bodies to play a little bit bigger this year.
Booker had a crazy game today.
Yeah.
Oh, Durant didn't play. Oh, right. Yep. He was resting up so that he could play Sunday.
Yep.
Classic.
But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how we handle this Suns matchup. Because I mean, you mainly want to keep their shooters in check, but like you also want to also keep KD and Booker in check because they could both go off for like 35 plus. So you got to pick your poison there with that matchup.
They don't really have depth though. I don't know.
There's still like Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen to kill us from three, and Bates Diop to get open on those cross switches when Randall's in La La Land. So,
I mean, I'm just saying that the guys they're giving tons of minutes to is besides their two best players is I don't know. Oh wait, no, dude. Bates Diop only started today because Durant was out.
He also started, I think, in that Utah game when in those Utah
did Booker
games
play?
too. Yeah, Booker was playing those games too.
All right, we need to. So they played,
but like Vogel's been weird with the lineups though, so that's also the thing too. Like he's started Bates Diop, he's also like brought him in off the bench. He started Eric Gordon. He started
so the game before against the Warriors, they started Allen, Gordon, Booker, Durant, Nurkic. If they do that, if that is okay, I'm gonna amend what I was gonna say.
Okay.
If that is the starting lineup for the Suns, Julius Randle will have a very good game because he has to guard Kevin Durant. If he is not guarding Kevin Durant against that lineup, I'm very worried. He has to guard Kevin Durant, and yeah, dude, him on Gordon or Allen. Oh my, dude. Honestly, no, seriously, you should live bet. If you see them come out of the gate with Randall matched on Gordon or Allen, you should.
I'm taking Gordon for 5 threes.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, and then that's also a small lineup, and Randall will be able to do stuff inside the arc against that lineup. So if that's the Suns starting lineup on Sunday, I feel good about the Knicks' chances. I feel good about the Knicks' chances regardless, but I feel good about Randall's chances.
I do not feel good about Randall's chances. Vivek says, honestly, if we didn't self-destruct in the third and didn't turn the ball over like crazy in the first half, we'd won by a more comfy margin in this game versus the Heat. I definitely I could see it. The only thing that was really killing us from the Heat, I would say, was the boards, and that was mainly due to effort. And I would say Bam's early start, but other than that, I really didn't think that much killed us. I mean, Kyle Lowry hit some threes. Jimmy Butler hit like 3 threes, which is sort of out of the norm. But it wasn't like they were doing anything like too crazy. Like it wasn't when we were having like a Caleb Martin game or something, or Kevin Love was just like absolutely lighting us up from deep or something like that. So, yeah, I felt pretty comfortable with this game if we didn't absolutely shit ourselves to start the third quarter.
Yeah, I agree.
They said nobody got a bang today, so there's that.
Typical Breen trying to be too objective.
Jordan Mubb says actually quickly came in and really changed the game. His aggressiveness and assertiveness. That's what Kyle Lowry said today.
I always like that Kyle. I always like that Kyle Lowry guy.
Shout out to Kyle Lowry giving our guys some pops. So yeah. Jordan Bub also brings up Mitch Robinson now has 3+ offensive rebounds in each of his first 15 games this season. Him and Dennis Rodman are the only players to ever accomplish this feat.
Mitch had 3 offensive rebounds tonight.
If he did, that's remarkable because
I didn't.
I don't know when
Yeah,
he
he
had the
did. He
time to
did.
do it.
He had exactly 3.
Wow. Okay.
Good call, Jordan Bub.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here. He also brings up Jalen Brunson over the last 8 games, 26 points per game, 49% from the field, 52% from 3. Wow. 89% from the free throw line. Knicks are 6-2 in those games. I feel like we've also had a pretty favorable schedule too. I want to say the last 8 games or so. We played the Wizards, we played the Hornets a couple of times. Who else did we play in these last 8 games?
So we have played the last 8 games. We have played San Antonio, Charlotte, at Boston, at Atlanta, at Washington, at Charlotte, at Minnesota versus Miami. So 4 kind of cupcake games in Charlotte twice, Washington and San Antonio, but then a medium Atlanta on the road, and then 3 pretty tough games against Miami, Minnesota, and Boston.
So pretty fair.
Yeah.
Next tape says 2 blown 21-point leads in 4 business days is insane. LMAO. The Heat blown 22 21-point leads in the last
Against the Bulls, right?
Oh yeah, they were up crazy in that game and they lost. That's hilarious. Losing that Bulls loss has to sting a lot more than us because we're actually a respectable and good basketball team. The Bulls are not that at all. I don't even think they're attempting to be that, and if they are, they're doing such a bad job at it. But to blow a lead to the Bulls, you have to be trying to lose that game.
They're just waiting for December 15th. Because that's when Levine can get traded.
Makes sense. Oh yeah, they're definitely waiting.
I mean, they're so pathetic. I can't believe that one person, or not that one person. There's that whole thread. Did you see that whole thread on Twitter?
Subsection of human beings that with that size of a brain.
Yeah, and they were like they said the Bulls young core is better. The Bulls young core is better than the Knicks young core. What in the?
Patrick,
that person has to like put his shoes on and go to work every day. How does he do that? Or she? I ain't gonna be.
They probably need assistance with it. I would say
that's rough. Today was a I can't lose game because the Raptors and Bulls are 2 of my least favorite teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
So the
Raptors. Let's see. David Goodman says if they don't pay IQ, everyone should be fired. I definitely agree, but could be the case. He's definitely warranting a bigger price tag now than he did before the season, especially if he plays like this for the rest of the year. And I assume that he will because, I mean, for him to get off to the start and then we know how his play can uptick during the year. I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm his biggest fan. I just still think there's more from him. So I mean, tonight, not more. Tonight was his second best game of the season after the Boston game. Jordan, good comment by Jordan. I hope I'm wrong too. Honestly, I don't want to not like people. I'm a positive person. I'm an optimistic person, and I don't not like Julius Randle as a person. Obviously, I just don't think he's. I just think his warts are too detrimental to win at the highest level when he's on your team, and it's hard for me to look past that. It's cool to see him do the dominant things he does, and I agree that he does some things really well.
Like an ugly person with a great personality.
I mean, shit, dude, that's rough, but that's a solid analogy. That's I don't know. He is the one player on a team that I feel like is I don't want to say holding the Knicks back because I do think it's possible the Knicks just get worse. Not possible. It's likely the Knicks get worse. if they just dumped him for nothing. But I just think that long term, he is in his own little league compared to the rest of the Knicks roster. Yeah, and it's tough to overlook. As someone who thinks in the macro a lot.
Yeah. JK says stretch four who rebounds and doesn't play defense. Sounds like a pacer to me. Talking about Randall.
Hey, that would be so funny. Just so funny.
Obi escaping, and then Julius Randle's like, "Hey,
dude." They're like, "Hey, Obi, we're bringing in your old buddy."
Bringing in a familiar face you might recognize, one of your vets.
Oh my god, that would be so funny. The thing is Carlisle would just play them together, so it would be funny regardless. Like, dude, you know who's been sick this year is that guy on the Pacers, Jalen Smith.
Really?
He has been like sick. Isn't even. I mean, he didn't have a great. I mean, whatever. He didn't blow you away. He had 8 and 6 and 9, 2 of 3 shooting. But I think let's check EPM. His EPM, his true shooting percentage this year is something absurd. He's the best shooter in basketball for sure. So let's see. True shooting. He leads the NBA in true shooting percentage with an 82% true shooting percentage. He is shooting in the 100th percentile. So he's in the 100th percentile in true shooting percentage, field goal percentage. He's in the 98th percentile and rim percentage. And then he's also shooting 68.4% from 3.
What?
I don't, unless I'm misunderstanding that. And they're saying that that's the percentage of shots he's taking. I guess that could be it, but I didn't double check. So that was a fast look the other day. And then I didn't. Yeah, he's shooting. Okay. Yeah. He's shooting 68% from 3 this year.
Wow.
Which is preposterous.
That's insane.
So yeah, I mean, they've got him and Obi still. I mean, Obi still he played 25 minutes tonight, so that's nice. But like Jalen Smith and Obi share the court sometimes. They only really have one true center in Miles Turner.
Miles Turner, yeah. Unless they see Jalen Smith as like a 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. They kind of do. They're playing him at center next to Obi. Hey, Mathurin had a cool game tonight too. The Pacers are, I mean, they're what you were talking about on Twitter today. Like, it's easy right now to be like, oh yeah, they're a fun team, but the second we play them, and
it's gonna be so annoying. It's gonna be so annoying because they're gonna be scoring 1,000,000 points per second, and it's just like, bro, can you relax? Like, them and the Magic are gonna be the two most annoying teams because the Magic are just like straight clamps, and then they're so annoying. Especially Jalen Suggs. I just know he's gonna annoy the hell out of me when we play them.
He's gonna be annoying. He's gonna do some shit.
He's going to piss off Randall. Like, Randall's gonna try to back him down for a post up, and like Jalen Suggs is just gonna strip him, and Randall's gonna be complaining for a foul, and Jalen Suggs is gonna go the other way, and they're gonna score some crazy bucket, like Mo Wagner's gonna like score like in the post or something, and like the team is gonna be like so downtrodden, and the fans are gonna be so annoyed. I can just see it already because I saw it today versus the Celtics.
He's number one. My friend's wife has gotten into basketball more since they, started dating a little bit, and she's hated Mo Wagner since he was at Michigan, and so like they were watching the NCAA tournament together, and she was like, "Oh my god, I hate this guy," and so like anytime the Knicks play the Magic, she just hates on Mo Wagner, and then like a few years ago, my friend was just like, so I've got some bad news for you, Corinne. There's actually 2 of them. There's another Wagner coming away. And so the Magic are her least favorite team. But yeah, I mean, in general, Mo Wagner is just a variant. He's got that face. Like, he just always makes that whiny face. He's always complaining. He's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, the Magic, they're going to be so annoying to play. The Pacers are going to be so annoying to play, not only because of the Obi narratives that all the beat writers are going to be spinning, but and the Tyrese Halliburton narratives that they're going to all be spinning because, we passed on Tyrese Halliburton and now he's playing with Obi that they should have had and whatever. But yeah, they score like crazy. Like they score like crazy, but they also give up a lot of points too. So that's also like the good thing. So like the Knicks should be able to outscore them, but they score like crazy. So like Knicks are gonna be in for like one of those Atlanta Hawks type games because like our games versus the Hawks are very similar to how most teams' games are versus the Pacers. Like if you just look at the last couple games that teams have played versus the Pacers, they've all scored like 110 or like 115 plus. I want to say
Or
it's insane.
150.
Yeah, that game was insane.
That game was awesome.
It was. It was great for props too. Holy shit! I
That was
cashed.
the one you nailed, right?
Yes, I cashed the live bet. I put Buddy and Trey for 5 threes each, and I put Tyrese and DeJounte for 4 apiece.
Yeah. And then you were bitching on the timeline the next day. You're like,
Yes,
I just can't win one, you know? Like, dude, are you fucking kidding? Are you kidding me?
it's not. It's the way I don't mind losing. It's the way that I be losing. Like,
Okay.
bruh, it'd be like the simplest legs that just don't cash. It's so annoying. It's the way that they don't cash too.
You just hit a 200 to 1.
And you know what? And you know what? What makes it more annoying too is watching it happen. Oh my gosh, watching it happen is the worst.
I'll give some folks on here a little behind the curtains story. So me and Sam don't know each other personally. We've never met before. You know, I consider us friends now. Maybe Sam just secretly hates me, but you know, whatever.
No.
There was
Julius Randle. That's the only person I hate in life.
there was a time there was a time when we were just co-hosting this with Tyrese, and we didn't know anything about each other. And one of our first ever post games, probably a loss since it was 2022, and there were lots of them then. He was kind of like Sam was kind of like attention split towards the end, and I kind of picked up on it, but I didn't say anything. We were on, and then we got off the show, and I was like, "So what was the deal there, Sam? What's going on?" And he was just like, "I need Siakam to score a bucket to win a parlay." And so like we just stayed on the call, and I flipped on the Raptors game. And it was like he was like half a point away, and it was the most absurd end to a game I've ever seen in my life because it was like they were like playing keep away from him in a close game. Like Siakam didn't touch the ball, and so like me being a professional gambler, like you know for the last 15 years or whatever, and like that's how I've made my money. That's how I've done everything that I've done. I am very accustomed to losing and to I understand the swings and the variance of losing money. I've lost lots of money over short periods of times. But I had no idea if Sam was like that or if Sam was going to be devastated. So I'm just kind of sitting there like observing him, trying to learn about him as a person, how he's going to take this. And after the game was over and Siakam didn't score, Sam was just like, "All right, fuck it. See you tomorrow." Like, and then he got off, and I was just like, "All right, that's what I like to hear." That's
literally how I take every single bet. I'm just like, man, there's some more games tomorrow. Just gotta win it back. That's literally how I do it.
You said that after the football games yesterday. You were like, "Thank God we got NBA. We're back tomorrow."
Yup. NFL kicked my ass yesterday, but I was like, you know what? There's a whole slate of NBA today. Let's see if we can get it back.
you and Josh Hart got crushed by the NFL.
God. Josh Hart is hilarious. He was like 0 for 6. I was like, just like me, man. Just like me.
Man, those people are just like people who are successful are so funny because I bet. I mean, I don't know this for sure. I obviously don't know Josh Hart personally, or I don't know anything really about him. I bet what he was gambling, like the amount is so much less and so meaningless to him, but they just care so much. They just want to win so much, and it's like
I need that itch.
Oh, it's like a penny to us,
Oh man. But yeah. Whew. Let's see what I say. Oh, Wildfire Crazy. He says, would the Thunder be interested in Randall? They can keep their million picks. We'll throw in the rights to Rokas. Do they need they don't want someone like Randall with their group of Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet. Like that's a solid trio right there.
Yeah, they don't want him.
And those three, man, if you watch the end of that Warriors game, man, a couple nights ago or like a week or so ago, that was some special hoops in the clutch by those three guys. Like
so
the
good.
way that those guys got to their spots. Whew.
The thing is that like an optimized Julius Randle would work because you need a power forward who can shoot. But like Julius Randle's going to go to Oklahoma City and be a role player next to Jalen Williams and shit. No, get the fuck out of here. Like, nah. I do appreciate what Walt Clyde Frazier is saying. Like, if there was a way to get Julius Randle to buy in, sure, that's a fine. And they probably wouldn't have to give up much because, like Sam just said, they're going to keep their big three. No comment on Josh Giddey. So they're just. I actually do mean that. Like I personally will just leave that to the justice system, and I'll make my comment when the facts come out. But I have to say, like, this sort of thing always perturbs me because I think there's a very good chance that he made some very big errors. But I think that what I always take away from these things is how far we've kind of just collectively fallen, because so many people, all they care about is just like elevating their self-worth and their self-morals to stand on this guy's shoulders. And again, I think there's a 99+% chance that he fucked up, but I think the world would be a better place if we all had restraint and weren't engagement farming over some person that we don't know any of the details over. We're all just commenting on like third part, like, and again, I'm not white knighting for Josh Giddey. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that I personally, no comment. I will dunk on him when the facts are clear and, the justice system rules how they rule and yada, yada. So,
well, if the NBA is the NBA is so inconsistent with the way they judge their punishments for all types of behaviors in this league, it's so hard to say how they'll even come down on this if it is the way it looks, because of how inconsistent they've been with, John Morant's thing, Miles Bridges thing, Josh Primo's thing. Like, these are all three separate cases that have all just been handled, I think, the wrong way, I think, by the league. So
yeah, it'll be interesting.
But hey, they can have Julius Randle if they want to. I will gladly send Julius Randle to Oklahoma City. If that should be their punishment. Their punishment should be if, like, if Josh Giddey is guilty, they should be able to take Julius Randle. We're
talking about a potential sexual predator. And Sam's like, fuck it, give him Julius Randle.
They need a roster spot filled, and I think Julius Randle fits right into that slot right there perfectly. But yeah,
the bit has gone on too far, Sam. Too far.
Oh man. Wow, we haven't beat KD since the 12-13 season. It hasn't really been that long. What the fuck?
Dude, is that really true?
Now I have to look this up because Knicks wins versus Kevin Durant. Oh my gosh, he's 21-3 versus us in his career.
That's pathetic.
What the hell?
All right, that needs to end Sunday.
Nah, we have to beat him.
Yeah.
On Sunday, like I need this win.
Was it you have a good memory for this stuff. Was it last year when we had that ridiculous game in Phoenix, the Cam Reddish game, where like they ended up winning at the buzzer, but I think Julius Randle like got tossed?
That was 21-22. That was 21-22, where Cam Johnson hit the buzzer beater.
Wait, who hit the buzzer beater?
Cam Johnson.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And Cam Reddish was on the team?
Yep. I believe so.
I
want to say he was.
And that was the game Julius Randle got tossed.
Yes, let me see. Knicks versus Suns. Julius Randle rejected.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, Cam Johnson had dropped 38 that game. And let me see the box score for this one. Julius Knicks versus Suns, March 4th, I want to say. That was March 4th. And looking at the box
score.
Dude,
I'm looking in the comments, and somebody said they unsubbed because I said something about Julius Randle going in the rafters, but I wasn't saying that
I think they might be trolling.
oh, because
Hopefully
I
they are.
that would be a pretty big misunderstanding of what I was saying. I was saying
Yeah,
that
Cam Reddish was on the team. He had 6
okay.
points.
But just to clarify, I don't think that Julius Randle's jersey is going in the rafters. I was saying that I think the Knicks are desperate to have a guy like that, and they see Julius Randle as that. I don't have I not made that clear? Have I not made that clear on this post game?
Man,
I don't
this
get
box score is so wild. Oh my god, from this game. So we lost 115 to 114, obviously at the buzzer. Julius Randle got ejected. He had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers. Mitch had 17 points, 15 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks. Absolutely insane game from Mitch. What you call it? RJ Barrett had an absolutely abysmal game. 9 of 26 from the field. Alec Burks, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Quickly 13 points off the bench in 27 minutes.
Dude, there's a stretch. There's a stretch. I don't remember if it's end of 2021, 2022, or just a huge stretch during 22, 23, where every game is that, where it's like Knicks lose by 5, quickly plus 12. Knicks, like Knicks win by 4, quickly plus 18. And it's just like, how many more years are we going to have to do this? It's just, and again, single game plus minus is really stupid. I get it. But when the team consistently performs well when a guy's on the court, there might be some correlation there. Maybe. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. But yeah.
Sam, you should post Hawkeye's comment. That was a really nice comment by Hawkeye. And thank you to him when Sam posts it. We appreciate you and everyone very much. It's too above the comment.
Oh yeah. Okay. He said Hawkeye 420 says, "Gotta say thankful for y'all. Y'all do great work, especially since the posting and toasting days. Thanks for the great content. Hope the team keeps us happy, even though those miserable post games be elite with the catharsis." Yep. You know how we do it over here. We try to make great content for the people. So shout out to y'all for helping us make that content. All the comments that y'all leave. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. We got links to the site Patreon. You can find Jeff and Khan show, Strictly NFL, as well as Strictly Roll with Schwinn, as well as I can't speak anymore. My brain is melting. A bunch of amazing NBA Knicks related content. Make sure you guys check the links to the merch and the what else there? Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We will catch you guys on Sunday, which is actually tomorrow now because it is already Saturday. We'll catch you guys on Sunday after the Knicks game versus the Suns. Hope that we get a win, and we hope to catch you guys there. Enjoy your Saturday. Peace.
Later, folks.